guess I'm going to tell one story. First, I'll introduce myself. Kanoho Wailuku Helm. I was born and raised on the island of Molokai. My mom and dad is Adolf and Corrine Helm. I have one brother, Kamaikalani Helm. And I have a wife, Lindy Helm, and I have 3 kids. Ke aloha nui kalawai amoku, ka ualea ke kukahi o ka mahina lani, and ke kumu I ka vai o ke ola. 3 children. Anyway, the roots of my family, the Helm family, actually comes from over here in Maui. My grandfather from Punene, and my tutu from down in Hana. They moved over to Molokai to go on a homestead. They were one of the first successful homestead farmers at that time. The homestead at that time were giving out very large tracts of land. There was a house lot, which eventually my family built a home and lived in Kalama'ula. And then there was a farm lot up in Ho'olehua, which is 35 acres, a farm lot. So anyway, born and raised on the east side, and you know, kind of moved back and forth throughout the island. Molokai is you know, not a huge moku like this island, so you pretty much get to experience the whole island. And I was fortunate enough to be to have a father who you know, had holo around the whole island. So I have a good life experience, and I would say I know my island well.
I am Kanoho Wailuku Helm, and I approve this message.
All the nooks and crannies. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, about 15 years ago, we decided to follow through with one of my grandfather's dreams, was to farm on a homestead. Okay, he was up in heaven already. But we, as a family, we went up to Ho'olehua Anahaki, and it was all bush, it was trees, it was acres and acres of wild land up there. No facilities at all, no running water, nothing at all. But my mom and dad, they made that decision that we were gonna go up there as a family and start to clear the land, clear the aina. And we did. All by hand, we started acre by acre, and we started to clear the land and open it up. And eventually, we decided we were gonna build a home on the homestead, and then we built a home there. And then one child came, 2 child came, 3 child came, grandchildren, and we all eventually I built a home with my family on the homestead as well. So meantime, we farmed the land, set it all up to farm, and we farm till today. We grow kalo, papaya, you know, to make a little bit extra keni, but mostly to eat, and share with our neighbors. So about 4 years ago, the homestead community in Ho'olehua was approached by these people, okay, wind developers. And what they were doing was going about, and I'll explain a little bit about the Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative. And that's for Hawaii to be 40% renewable energy by 2030. Right? So these people came to start to talk to the people in the homestead area to tell them to get on the same page. This is what's happening now. throughout the United States. We got to get off of fossil fuel, and we got to start looking at clean, renewable energy for the state. And Hawaii was chosen, to do this. So there was a few community meetings, and I tell you, people thought it was a good thing. Everybody wanted to kokua in this initiative in getting off of fossil fuel and helping out the rest of the world, from global warming and from overuse of fossil fuel and just being wasteful altogether, right? We want to do the right thing. So meeting after meeting, and what happened is it sounded good, but when we heard how giant these things were, 423 feet high, we says, you know what? We better go do our research and make sure this is what we want for our island of Molokai, and especially right in front of our face, right in our, they say NIMBY, not in my backyard, right? That's the term, but really it's in our backyard. It was supposed to be in our backyard and our front yard, so totally surrounding us. So we did our research, and as we did our research, we realized that people all over the United States and internationally was looking at this technology and looking at how harmful it was becoming to communities. They were starting to push communities, push people out of their own homes because it just was it was hard to live by. They were starting to have health problems from these giant wind turbines and the whoop and the whoop whoop 24 hours a day. So more we did our research, and we found out that this development is so huge that they clear large tracts of land. And the area that they were proposing to put this wind farm was all in the areas where we have all our cultural sites, we have native plants, and above all, in some of these places, this land was already allotted to people. So, in other words, they were planning to put the wind turbines on the land before the people that they were promised to help get on the land. So we went all start banding together, the community, and we went like crazy. How can we stop this thing? And basically, at that time, Hawaiian Homes wasn't much of a help to us. It says, you guys have to do your guys' own study and prove to us that this place is, a special place, I guess. Luckily today we have a lot of diverse people in our community. So, we have botanists, we have archaeologists, we have people who know where other cultural sites are. We have people who know about native plants. We have people who know about the fishing and the effects on all of that. People who know how to use a GPS and mark all of that. People who know how to put that on a map. People who know how to clear bushes, of course, right? People who are willing to donate their time, manuahi, to help save this special area. So we all banded together, and long story short, we helped to stop that development on the homestead land. And today it's put into a special land use district, 1,200 acres, where they cannot have these types of developments. And it can continue on to be in a place where they can continue to have put kanakas on the land. Yeah, first thing first. And of course, we had some help politically. And that was a major help. Yeah. So First Wind told us, okay, we're gonna hail it on. We know you guys don't want this, and they kept their promise. They moved on. It wasn't about 6 months later, the next development company came in. Now, they weren't putting their eye on homestead land. They were looking at the big deal. And this was to be on ranch land. And this is now a proposal not for 50 megawatts, but for 200 megawatts. Now, if you had 200 megawatts on the island of Molokai, I tell you, if you was on the moon, Molokai would look like the sun. Right? So, people started asking questions. What is this for? What is this about? Well, come to find out, really, the development of this wind farm is not for Molokai at all. It's to provide power for Oahu, okay, where most of the population is. And so now our ohana grows because the whole island is concerned about this development. None of the power is for us. We're going to have to live with the destruction of 11,000 acres. Not only that, the social impacts of what this development will cause, dredging of our reef and our wharf to run these cables. Molokai has, I think, the second most largest and pristine and diversified reef in the world. Okay, now they're planning on running this cable on that reef. I would say, 80 to 90% of people who live on Molokai live some sort of a subsistence lifestyle. We depend on the land to grow our food, to go hunting, to put food on the table, and of course we do our fishing from the ocean, and it becomes a bigger and bigger threat, larger threat. So we started this group called Aialoha Molokai. Today our membership is close to 700 members. All different, people who come from all different walks of life, not just Kanaka. We have Filipino, we have Caucasians, we have Japanese. All different cultures have come because they all have concern and they all have aloha for Molokai. We have PhDs, we have people who have worked in the utility industry, we have world-renowned filmmakers, and we all got involved, we all banded together, and we started this group called Aialoha Molokai. And a big part of us getting our message out is because of this man behind the camera there. The wind developers didn't realize that they were planning this wind farm right in front of his house.
And I was angry.
And they didn't realize that he just came from working almost 20 years up in the White House, working with all the shakers and the movers up there, and covering all these political backdoor initiatives that were going on. So he got involved, we had a voice, we put all of our heads together, and we started to get our message out. People would write in the newspapers. We would make films, put films out, and try and outreach to the broader community outside of Molokai and throughout the state, because we realized that this project that they're planning involves billions and billions of dollars. So we realized that it's going to be hard to stop it without the help of the rest of the state. So we start to outreach and make that connections. And that is what we call Kealapono. Kealapono is, of course, the righteous path. And we want people from the outside islands to take a look at what's going on, really, and have our government to start to look at walking a righteous path and being transparent with the people, with the public. Back to the Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative. Anybody in here can tell me about the Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative? Can anybody tell me if there's an actual plan? You guys are the public now. You guys should know that. They should have given you that information that there was a plan. But the truth is Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative is actually a Hawaii Clean Energy illusion. There's no plan. If there was a plan, someone would be in charge. Anybody know who's in charge? We've been at this for a few years now, and we've been asking our county officials, our state officials, we've been asking people who work in the different planning departments, who's in charge of this initiative? They say, well, of course, it's around the whole United States. It's the Clean Energy Initiative, the Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative. The governor said, right? Oh, Kalamai. Oh, yeah. I had the ringer on before this was. Yeah, that was spooky. But so we're doing our research. We're talking to all our representatives and our government officials, and really nobody can tell us who's in charge. And basically, this is why the Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative was cooked up for the big wind farms, which we call a big wind scam. That's what it's about. Okay. The truth is they cannot take one measurement, and they haven't been taking one measurement as far as how much people have been reducing their use of fossil fuel. Okay. There's no measurement of that. And there's no measurement of how much renewables are going online, yeah, and no measurement on how much they're going to charge you for your use of electricity. So there is no plan. The plan is, and the bill passed, the cable bill SB 2785, which gives HECO a green light to automatically raise your electric rates. Okay, so who's going to benefit from the laying of this cable? It's HECO, it's the wind developers, and it's the people who met in the back doors. And I'm not going to mention names, but a lot of our government officials bought into this plan, knowing that the burden was going to be tagged on to the people of Hawaii. It's me and you now. It's all of us. And people are still in Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative land thinking that it's a good thing, a lot of the public. When really it's not. In the end, everybody's rates going to go up. And in the end, you never really do any good. Because we didn't reduce our use of fossil fuel. Not at all. In fact, it may be even more. We may be doing an increase. So what happened when we went down to the Capitol, of course, we all went deep into our pockets and we pay our own way for go down to hear the final hearing on the Senate bill, SB 2785. We went a day early to meet with our legislators, to meet with our senators, our representation. And as we went door to door, to ask them to support us, because to go back a little bit, on the island of Molokai, there's been 2 surveys done already. And on both surveys, on 2 surveys, there were 93% of people on the island oppose the cable and the wind farms. 93%, 2 surveys. So when we went down, we says to our legislators, you know, if you guys can help us, because Molokai doesn't want this. We don't want the cable to come to our island. We don't want this massive wind development. So as we went door to door, our senators, our representatives, you know, there were some good ones, but most of them were like, I likened it to diving for lobster. I grew up diving for lobster. And when you go down to grab the lobster, pull them out the shelf, they go like that. They back up in the cave. They run away from you. And that's how it was when we went down there. That's how a lot of our representatives and legislators, they went like that. They went back up in the office. They didn't have time to talk to us. So the next day, we talked to our representation, our senator, and we asked him to help us. And he says, you know, he heard our voices on Molokai, and you know, he wants to help and whatnot. Come to find out, when they were on the floor and they heard the bill, he supported passing the bill. He supported it with reservations on the final hearing of Senate Bill SB 2785. He says, it's a yes with reservations. Yeah. Now, what does that mean? Yes with reservations. Well, long story short, after going through all of that, we went next door to the office where you pull papers to run for office. And I put papers to run for office for Senate District 7. I'm not campaigning now, I'm just telling you guys a story. Okay. Right. Okay. And I'll have you guys know, I never aspired to be a politician or to run for any type of office. As good and fine, you know, living my life and raising my children in the land that I love so much, my home in Ho'olehua. But, you know, after going through the process and just seeing the lack of communication, the lack of transparency with government and us people who live in such rural areas, I mean, gosh, I mean, we never see our representative for years, to tell you the truth. And there haven't been any good communication between us. I mean, unless you're meeting with, you know, certain other people. And good and fine, whatever that is about. But the truth is we needed more communication within our community. And we didn't have that. So I filed. We went home. And I'm thinking to myself, geez, what the hell did I do? You know, I pulled these papers, right? So we went home. I could talk to my family and friends. And they tell me the same thing. What the hell did you do? You know, what's going on? Because, you know, it's the way they look at me, you know, I'm just coming from the bushes, and that's the truth. You know, what do you know about being a politician, right? And truthfully, you know, I don't know much yet about being a politician, and that's the truth. I know how to communicate with people. I know that. That is my, you know, one of my greatest skills is to aloha and communicate with all types of people from all walks of life. But being a politician, no. So we had a meeting, and then there was this other person who's running for the same seat. We invited her to one of our meetings, and we wanted to get behind somebody, we could support them and we could still take care of our kuleana on keeping an eye on the issue. Well, this person came in and gave us the story about how she thought the decision that was made on the floor of the legislature concerning the cable bill was a bad decision, and she would have made a different decision. So our group, our people that attended the meeting asked her the question, would you be able to make a public statement so that we can support you and we can get behind you? And her reply was, before or after I get in office? So 2 days later, flew back down to Oahu and was going to file these papers. Okay, went down there. Now we had to drive all the way to, I think it was Pearl City, right? And gosh, way in the boondocks of Pearl City, you drive to file your papers. And so we took the time, we went, oh, wait, I gotta back up, right? Before I left, you need signatures to put your papers in. And you gotta get certain amount of signatures, and all the information gotta be correct. So I says, the night before now, I doing this, I getting the signatures. I says, oh, I better get plenty signatures because on Molokai, sometimes, you move, you live with family, your address different, Some people remarry, but their other name is on the other voting ballot, when they voted previously. So I says, okay, I better get a lot of signatures. So I went around, I visit family, friends, and all the way to I was flying out the next day. I got signatures, and it was 42 signatures I got. All I needed was 15 for pass, right? So I got 42 signatures. So we go down to Pearl City, and I'm in the office, and I'm waiting, and the lady is checking all the signatures. So I see her with the red pen. Okay, and the other lady upstairs is checking the other paper, right? Because there's a few papers. So she go, brother, it's not looking good. She go, I went X out half already. So that other paper better be, you better get, more than half. So, long story short, I went just past by 2, okay? And the 2 is right there. The people will drive me to the place, okay? They were the passing votes. So why I'm telling you this is just to look at the process that someone has to go through to represent their people and their community and the rest of the state, especially in places where I come from, because they make it very hard for you to do that.
All those X'd out names is because they weren't registered voters?
Well, some went move, some went remarry, some went put the wrong homestead lot, all that kind, right?
So just one thing was off, they didn't count?
Yeah, they don't count. They're pretty stringent on that. So anyway, I go and I file, and I file as a nonpartisan or independent, right? And I'm doing it because I wanna have my own views. I don't wanna be I don't want to have to follow party lines, and the decisions that they make, because I think in all parties they make some good decisions and some bad, Lately, most bad, but I like to have my own head in there, so I file as a nonpartisan. Come to find out, when I come home, there's a special rule that they made for people who run as independents, as nonpartisan. you have to make 10% of the total vote in the primary in order to move on to the general. Now, they only do this for people who run as independents, okay? So that's another challenge now on my plate, right? And it's hard. It's going to be hard to make it because of that. But that's part of my platform. My platform is to raise these issues so that the public can be made aware of how government is being run today and why we need to start getting involved and trying to change that. We have to change that. You know, on Molokai, we've managed to fight off a lot of issues that have come up. But most time, a lot of the times in our meetings, when we meet with people, there's not really a structure of communication between people who are supposed to represent us and telling people from the outside, whether it's developers or people who start to infringe on our way of life, they're supposed to be working for us. Our representatives are supposed to be telling them, hey, listen to the people. That's not happening today. And that's why we, the people, end up yelling and screaming in the meetings and sometimes, you know, saying things that we usually wouldn't say to others because there's no structure. And what I hope to do is set one example for my generation to get involved and help to shape that structure. So lucky, I work with some wonderful people who's been around the world, who's seen it all, who's seen these developments happen in other areas, and who says, you know what, we have to deal with it in a good way, and let's all work together to start building that platform and start having some kind of conflict resolve in our communities. So we help to create a nonprofit, Keala Pono, where we hope to teach our younger generation how to go into debate, how to debate issues in a way where they can come here and they can debate with legislators, they can debate with colleges, and they can learn, you know, how to speak their language. Yeah, it's not that how we speak is not good, because we speak how we speak, and we find speaking how we speak every day. Yeah, and that is my kind, and that's all good. But if we are going to outreach to the rest of the world that is starting to infringe on our way of life, then we have to start to learn those languages. And I tell you, I'm in a learning experience right now. I'm you know, what I would call a crash course. So what I'm trying to do is, you know, regardless of what happens with me in this campaign, you know, I bring light to the issues, and more or less it's an investigation. And I have that platform to share with the public. And hopefully, I hope and I pray that more people can get involved, you know. And to me, it doesn't matter, you know, how you want to get involved in the structure of where you from, you know, and your community. You know, we visited different places in Maui and on Molokai. You know, they say, brother, what do you think about Hawaiian Nation? Brother, what do you think about lawful Hawaiian government? What you think of? There was this other group, one other brother mentioned to me. Sheesh, we even met with the Tea Party last night, right? Yeah. So, I mean, to me, it's about if everybody can find a common ground, and that is, you know, to protect our way of life in Hawaii, and we can move that way, no matter what group you choose to be from or represent, whether it's Ohana or whatever, You know, if you're moving towards doing something good to protect our way of life, you know, and you're looking for balance within our environment and you know, economy and how we live, everyday people, as we malama each other, then it's good. It's all good. And whatever group, pukachu. Yeah, but we all got to understand too, at the same time, the government we're all living under, they're making the decisions right now. So, you know, some of us got to get involved with that side. Yeah, because otherwise, you know, the turbine go up, the big hotel go up, the next huge mall go up. And if it's necessary, then it's necessary. But if it's not necessary, then don't do it. We have to start looking at, you know, what we really need versus what we want. We're living in a time to where we really got to look at what we need. And we really need to hui all together. All people have to hui together to really look at taking care of our needs. Yeah. And to me, really, and people are going to think like, when I say this, they're going to think like, what are you talking about? It's really going to go back down to unconditional love and aloha for one another. And to me, that's what our people represented, the people of Hawaii. When people share the ha with each other, I look at it as an exchange of currency. And that currency is the most important currency in the world. Because if we run out of air, if we run out of ha, we all make. People don't look at it that way as a currency because, you know, there's no money to gain from it. But really, it's the most important thing in the world. The most important thing in life is the ha. And guess what? We share them with each other freely. So, to me, I think we all have to band together and just look for the best things for Hawaii and the best way to protect our way of life. And that is going to come from all different angles. And gosh, that's it.